Welcome to Module 5. This is Formatting Worksheets. We'll be looking at formatting with font and colour, formatting numbers, dates and times, copying and pasting formatting. We'll be adjusting column widths and row heights. We'll be aligning cell contents, indenting and rotating cell contents, merging cells, adding borders, colours and shading, using styles and using document themes. Here's the agency's spreadsheet, which you'll recognise from earlier exercises, except there's one big difference here. There's no formatting. There's no bold, italic or underline, no colours, no sizes. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply different types of formatting to this worksheet, and I may work with some of the other sheets as well to show you different types of formatting that can't be applied to this particular worksheet. Most people will recognise bold, italic and underline. Three of the most common attributes you can apply to a font. Let's just say I'm going to make my column headings bold. Now I could decide just to select the column headings here in row 1 and make all of those bold, like so. Notice the keyboard shortcut for this is Ctrl and B. That makes them bold, but if I was to add another heading over here in H1, this would not be bold. To apply bold formatting or any formatting to a whole row, we need to select the whole row. Now already it shows that it's bold, although we do know that H1 is not actually bold, but if I click the bold twice, now anything I type in row 1 will be bold. The same would apply for italic. Let's just select this row again and I'll click the I. Notice that the keyboard shortcut for this is Ctrl and I. Click that and now I have headings which are bold and italic. Similarly, I can also apply underlining, and guess what the keyboard shortcut for that is? Yes, Ctrl and U. So I'll just underline these. I don't actually like that formatting myself, but I'll take it out, but that's how you do it. Okay. I could also decide with this particular row that I want to make the font size larger or even change it to a different font. At the moment we can see here that the font size is 11. If I click the down arrow and say let's go to 14. I could also change the font from Calibri to a font like Arial or Tahoma. To find Tahoma, I can either scroll down the scroll bar at the bottom here, and I'll get to it at the bottom here. There's Tahoma there, or I could just actually type in the word Tahoma and then hit return. You'll notice that some of the words are broken up. That's because our font size is too large now. For example, here in C1, so I just need to widen the column to accommodate that. And it's also happening in G1, so I'll just widen that column too. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select the cities here, starting with Edinburgh and down to Prague. Okay, I could make them bold, for example. I could change the font size slightly. I'm just going to increase it to 12. I have options here to increase the font size as well. Okay, I could make them italic or underline, although I'm not going to. There's even a double underline as well that you could use. Here we've got borders. We'll look at those in a moment. Here we have theme colors. We'll look at those too. And here we have the font color. I'm actually going to change the font color for the cities to a blue. Whenever I hold my mouse over the particular color, you can see a preview of how it's going to look. So perhaps my blue is a little bit too light there. I'll just make it slightly darker. I could also go into more colours, and I've got a wide spectrum of colours I could use from here, and even create my own custom colour if I wish to. I'll just stick with the blue, so I'll just go back there and click on the blue square. Also, within the ribbon on the font tab, we have the font dialog box. Okay, this is part of the format cells dialog box, which we'll be looking at in more detail as well. But here you could change font for selected cells, change the style, italic bold, bold italic, or the size, change the color here, change the underline effect. Strike through just means that the words would have a line going through them. Superscript means where the numbers are on a higher level than the remaining numbers. For example, a date, for example the 15th, the TH would be superscript, and subscript would be the opposite, where the character is below the line. For example, H2O, the 2 would be subscript. Okay, I'm not going to do anything with that at the moment, just showing the font dialog box. Okay, now we're going to have a look at formatting numbers. I'm just going to go to the average contracts here. You can see that they are at 1 decimal place at the moment. I'll just scroll down and select them. If I got to number here on my ribbon, I've got various number formats I could choose. Just give you a moment to look at those. I also have an accounting number format, whereby I could put a euro or a dollar or a pound sign in front of the values. I could make them percentages as well. I could use a thousand separator, that's where you'd have 1,000. Or I can increase or decrease the decimal. If I was to increase the decimal for these, I'll get 2 decimal places, and so on. I'll just bring that back to 1. Because the number has its own dialog box. This is part of the format cells that we were looking at the moment. And there are more options you can do from here. You can choose the category. We're dealing with numbers, but there are other types of categories. And at the moment it's set at 1 decimal place. I'll just increase that to 2. And I could use a thousand separator, except as you can see here, I've nothing above 56. I'll just go OK to that to give it 2 decimal places. Excel will round up decimal places. So for example, if you change the first one here to 56.6, it would actually turn it into 56.7, and with this one it would go to 53.3. I'll just demonstrate that by selecting those. It rounds up above 5 and rounds down below 5. So I'll just decrease the decimal and it just rounds it up. Okay, I've just switched worksheet here from sheet 1 to sheet 2, as you can see down the bottom here, just to demonstrate date format. I've typed in a date here, 21st of June 2014. Okay, I can change that back to a number if I wish to, but I'm working on a date format, so I can either go more number formats, which takes me to my format cells dialog box. I could have also right clicked on the cell and gone down to format cells. Okay, we're still dealing with numbers. I'll just move that in the center there. We're still dealing with numbers, but it's a date. But I have options on how I want to show the date. So for example, if I chose that option, we can see here a sample, it would show 21st of June as a word, 2014. Or I could choose to have the date showing that way. And there are other formats we could use here. We'll just see how this one looks. 21st of June 2014, I'll just go OK to that. and that's changed the date format for me. That's actually a long date, known as a long date, and I'll just go back to format cells there and show you that this would be a short date. Let's go OK to that. That's the short date format.